So this is lesson 1.3 in elementary algebra. And I don't know if this will be 1 or 2 videos, but let's just start it as 1.3 and see where we go. All right, so this is going over the addition of real numbers. And one of the things about the addition of real numbers is it's real easy for you to add numbers like 3 plus 4, and those are real numbers, and get 7. But some people have a real struggle when you're dealing with adding positive numbers and negative numbers together, or negative numbers and negative numbers. And what we're going to do is we're just going to add those. We're not going to subtract them. We're not going to do things like 3 minus 6. What we're going to do is we are going to add all the time, at least to get us started. So what we're going to do is we are going to, whenever we see something like this, where the first number is smaller than the second number, is we're going to change it to a plus sign and put that minus on the 6. So it's still there, like that, but we're going to add them. And you get the same answer regardless. But doing the addition is a little bit easier as far as those that are struggling with positive and negative numbers. Now the book, this is where the book and I kind of part ways a little bit. They keep using this doggone number line, and I think using the number line is really, really confusing. If you want to use that number line, if you want to learn, look at examples 1 through 7 and figure that out and be able to use the number line, and that's fine if it helps you. But it confuses me. Maybe it's because I have a little brain. I don't know. But it just does confuse me. So anyway, we're going to look at example 1. And I'll teach you the way I do this. And if you were in my pre-algebra class, you learned this way. Is you look at both of the numbers. Don't look at them as one is a positive and one is negative. Just look at them both as a 3 and the 4. Okay? And then you look at the biggest number, which 4 is bigger than 3, and you know the answer is going to be negative. Okay? So you just look at the two numbers. It doesn't matter what your numbers are. If I'm going to add 3 plus 6, I look at the biggest number. What is it? It's positive. My answer is going to be positive. Okay? If I had a number like negative 3 minus 6, which number is bigger? 6. So my answer is going to be negative. Okay? It's just a real quick way to determine whether your answer is going to be positive or negative. You look at the biggest number, 6 plus negative 3. Which number is bigger? The 6 is. So your answer is going to be positive. Okay? So, key thing is look at the biggest number, and that tells you your sign. And this is another part. You've got to figure out what you're doing with that 3 and 4. If the signs are different, that says different. If the signs are different, see, this one's a positive, this one's a negative, you take the difference between the two numbers. What is the difference between 3 and 4? The difference between 3 and 4 is 1. There's your answer right there. You're done. So you determined whether it was positive or negative based on what the biggest number was. And if the signs are different, you take the difference between the two numbers, write it down after your sign, and you're done. All right? So let's look at negative 3 plus 4. All right. So which number is bigger? 4, so it's positive. And the signs are different, so you take the difference between the two. Okay? What if we have negative 3 plus negative 4? Okay? Negative 3, negative 4. The negative 4 is the biggest, going to have a negative. If the signs are the same, you add the numbers and you're done. Okay? So, 2 rules. If the signs are different, you take the difference between the two numbers. If the signs are the same, you add them. Those are the 2 rules. That is it. If I have, let's see here, 5 plus 7. Okay, sign of the biggest number is plus. Signs are the same. They're both positive. You're done. Okay? I always had trouble adding 5 and 7. I don't know why. It's just like, what is that answer? Okay. It's just like times tables. I never remember what 8 times 7 is. Okay, so signs, our biggest number is negative. Signs are different, so I take the difference between 5 and 7. Done. If I have this, largest number is negative. Signs are the same, so I add them. Done. Okay? So, let's continue on here to example 8. Example 8 says add all possible combinations of 10 and 13. So that means take negative 10 plus 13, 10 plus 13. So we made 10 negative and positive. Now let's make 10 positive and 13 negative. 10 negative and 13 negative. I think those are all the combinations that we can have here, these 4. And it just says add all the combinations. So we're going to add these. Signs are different, or well, biggest number is positive. Signs are different. Biggest number is positive. Signs are the same, so we add. Biggest number is negative. Signs are different, so we take the difference. Okay, biggest number here is negative. Signs are the same, we add. Okay, that's all there is to it. They do the same thing for example 9. Let's jump to example 10. I'm not trying to rush through this, but some of this just gets old. And did you know on YouTube, down on the, let's see, where the little play button is, there's a place over there where you can click a drop down and play my voice a lot faster. So instead of this being 7 minutes, you can play it like in 3.5. It just goes so much faster, and when you get to something that you don't know, you just stop it and play it at the normal speed. Or if you just like me here, sounding like Mickey Mouse, just keep me playing as fast as you want. But anyway, it's a faster way to get through these lectures. If it's like, oh my gosh, really, will you shut up? You can just play it faster until you get to things you don't know. Anyway, that was a freebie. Negative 3 plus 2 plus negative 4. All right, so we're doing a bunch of adding and subtracting. We're going to go from left to right, and this is example 10. So we're just going to look at 2 at a time. So the biggest number is negative, and the signs are different, so we take the difference. Okay, so that's our 3 plus 2. We just added that. And now we do with the negative 4. We look at that. Sign, or the biggest number is negative. Signs are the same. Whoops, I don't know why I put a 4 there. All right, biggest number is negative. Signs are the same, so we add, and we're done. All right, example 11. Negative 8 plus bracket 2 plus parenthesis negative 5. Okay, negative 1. All right, so we do what's inside the brackets first. And what does it say? It says 2 plus negative 5. The bigger number is negative. The signs are different, so we take the difference. Oops, gosh, what am I doing? Why did I put negative 3 there? Okay, we still continue from left to right. Okay, biggest number is negative. Signs are the same, so we add them. And we have that. So I'm not going to do them both at once. All right, biggest number is negative. Signs are the same, so we add them. And we're done. All right, let's look at example 12 here. And I'll just quit talking while I'm writing. But I don't like my plus sign looking like that. Okay. Again, we do what's in the parentheses. So, negative 10 plus 2 in the parentheses. Signs are different. Biggest number is positive. Signs are different. We take the difference. Okay. Let's see here. What is going on right here? 2 is being multiplied by what's in the parentheses. So because it's multiplication, remember PEMDAS says you do multiplication and division before you do addition and subtraction. So I'm going to do this multiplication before I add stuff together. So negative 10 plus 6 plus negative 4. Now I can add and subtract from left to right. All right, so I'm going to look at this one first. Okay, biggest number is negative. The signs are different, negative 10 and positive 6, so I take the difference. Okay, now I look at these two numbers. Okay, biggest number, well, they're both biggest numbers, so they're just going to be negative. Signs are the same, so I add, and I'm done. All right, so page 33, we get into example 13, and that is just putting words into symbols. So when somebody says, I have 5 more pieces of candy than you do because you only have 3, in order to say 5 more than 3, you would be 5 more than 3 or 3 plus 5. So that is taking something verbal, words, and translating it into a symbol called a plus sign. So when you're looking at different symbols in the book, in the middle of the page there, it says like 5 more than the sum of negative 2 and x. You know, those are all addition. Okay? And there's a little table, top of page 33. It gives you the total of A and B. A exceeded by B. So those are all phrases that you can use that mean plus. And that's all they're going into right now. They'll get into subtraction, division, and multiplication later on. But so let's go bottom of page 33. We might be able to do this in one video. I have 15 minutes per video. A sequence is simply a list of numbers that have been placed in a particular order. Okay, so for example, I may have a sequence of 2, 5, 8, 11, etc. Okay, and a sequence, an arithmetic sequence, is a sequence of numbers like I have there, in which each number comes from adding the same amount to the number before it. So notice what happened here. I started with 2 and I added 3, and I got 5, and then I added 3, and I got 8, and I added 3, and I got 11. So these numbers, this sequence of numbers came from adding the same amount to the previous number. So I get to 11 by adding 3 to 8. I got 8 by adding 3 to 5, etc. And that's all an arithmetic sequence is. Okay? So it's really not too bad. So if they give you something like, in example 14, 7, 10, 13, and they say, okay, what's the next number? Well, you can look and see that the next number is found by adding 3 to it, because that's how the other numbers were found. If we have 9.5 and we jump to 10, and then we jump to 10.5, and I say, what's the next number? You're going to say 11, because we went 1/2 for each number, and then the next number would be 11.5. Okay? That's really all there are to sequences. When you get to some like C on example 14, you'll have like 5, 0, -5, and they say, okay, what's the next one? Well, how do we get from 5 to 0? We added a -5, right? Or we subtracted a 5. Well, how do we get from 0 to -5? We subtracted a 5, okay? So you keep going here, and you're going to get -10, because you're going to take 5 away from -5. And how are you going to get the next one? You're going to go another 5, all right? So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about arithmetic sequences. Okay, my time's running out, but this is number 46. And we're going to go ahead and do this one rather quickly here. So you do what's in the parentheses here. And because my biggest number is positive and my numbers are different, I'm going to take the difference between the two. And in this parenthesis, my biggest number is positive. The difference between the two is 5, because one's a negative, one's a 6. So they have different signs. We're going to take the difference. All right, so now we're not going to add. Remember, we multiply first. So we're going to multiply this, add, and we're going to multiply this. 7 times positive 5. And then that gives us 50 for our answer. So, any questions, let me know. This is problem 1.3.